So this is the F2000 assault rifle that's now available in Battlefield 4 as part of the Second Assault DLC. And I for one have been waiting for this weapon for quite some time. As soon as I saw it in the trailer for Second Assault, I was really happy that DICE brought it back into the game. It surprised me that it wasn't actually included in the base game of Battlefield 4, but now I can see why they chose to include it with Second Assault, because this weapon fits Metro so perfectly, it's unbelievable. Let me get into some of the weapon stats and then we'll have a chat about the weapon itself. So the F2000 in essence is your bog standard assault rifle. Does a max damage of 25 up to 8 meters and then does minimum damage of 18 all the way out to 55 meters. So looking at that already, it's got the same damage model as a lot of the other assault rifles. It pumps out bullets at 850 rounds per minute, which is pretty quick, and couple in a 600 meters per second bullet velocity, you've got a rather lethal weapon on your hands right there. I think looking at this weapon first of all, that's the first thing you notice. This thing fires ridiculously quickly. That makes it really good in close quarters combat. So the first thing you're going to want to be doing is making sure that you can unlock that laser sight, because this thing is a hip fire beast. It's got some really weird side to side recoil of 0.4 to the left and 0.5 to the right, so it really does jump around a lot. But when you're hip firing, it doesn't actually make that much difference. So when you've got the laser sight on there with 850 rounds a minute, staring at a guy in the face, 9 times out of 10 you're going to win that gunfight. And because this gun excels at close and medium range to an extent, this is why I love it so much for Metro, because there are so many opportunities for you to get some close quarter kills. And especially in Team Deathmatch when you're in the buildings, it works so well in the staircases because you really have to have your wits about you to make sure you're going to get the first shot off. But even if you don't, and you can still manage to actually get the kill because it just fires so goddamn fast. Now moving back to the recoil for this weapon just a little bit, I've attached an angled foregrip to the F2000 because it does have quite a lot of kick to it and it's not very stable. So sticking the angled foregrip on obviously reduces your first shot recoil, which improves your stability overall and gives you a more accurate shot from when you first start firing. And it also means if you're going to tap fire, then it automatically applies that reduction of 33% to every time you burst the weapon. That way you're always going to be that little bit more stable than if you didn't use a grip at all. Because the weapon fires so fast, you are at sort of a disadvantage. Sometimes you can spam a few bullets to the left or right and they not actually hit your target. If that's something that's happening for you, I suggest you just hip fire them and get a little bit used to the F2000 first, because it does have a slightly weird recoil pattern. Because it kicks out to the left and the right so much, you're going to experience much more side-to-side recoil than you are vertical recoil. That sits at about 0.25. So you're going to notice a very sort of short, flat recoil pattern with the bullets going either side of the enemy all the time. And the first shot recoil multiplier for the F2000 is actually 3. So you're tripling 0.25, which gives you 0.75 first shot recoil multiplier, which really does give you something to think about, which is why sticking the angled foregrip on there I think is the best decision. You'll notice I'm using a red dot sight here. It's pretty much one of the first attachments that I chucked on the F2000 because I just didn't like the 1.6 times zoom that comes with the F2000. From what I understand, it is actually the main scope that comes with it, but I really don't like it. I mean, it's really good that it's in there for authenticity purposes, but if you're like me and you don't like sort of zoomed scopes where it sort of magnifies it too much that you start to lose the ability to see your surroundings, then I suggest you stick a red dot sight on there pretty quickly. A lot of people actually like the sight, and I think that's really good. You could just remove it altogether and just use the iron sights, but if you're looking for something a little bit more accurate, I'd definitely say go for one of the red dot sights, because you're easily going to be able to see your target much better than with that 1.6 times sight that you usually get with the F2000. In terms of the barrel attachment, I'm a little bit split. I know there's definitely one thing that I will not be putting on it, and that's the heavy barrel. Of course, we know the first shot recoil multiplier for the F2000 is extremely high, so sticking a heavy barrel on there is going to make that even worse. That increases recoil vertically by 50% at range. That's going to be a really weird cocktail if you decided to go for that setup. I'd really suggest avoiding that. So the two barrel attachments that I'm actually stuck between are the compensator and the suppressor. Now, in the footage behind you, you'll be able to hear the gun sound very faintly, which shows you I've used the compensator more. And that's in fact true. I prefer the compensator for many reasons. One of them is that it increases the stability that little bit further. We mentioned earlier that the side-to-side recoil on the F2000 is pretty high, so sticking something on there that's going to sort of pinpoint that a little bit more is going to make it easier to control, and overall I think a better weapon. It does come with a penalty of a reduced accuracy, but the fact that you're only going to be using this in sort of close quarters combat and maybe sort of medium range combat means you're not going to see that much of an accuracy decrease. If you're good at aiming anyway, you should be able to hit your target if it's 10 meters in front of you. Again, saying that the compensator is good, the suppressor is also a really good option here. It takes you off the minimap, and trust me, this thing makes a ridiculously loud noise with 850 rounds a minute firing out of it. But the main reason that I prefer the compensator over the suppressor is the suppressor reduces the bullet velocity down from 600 to 330 meters a second, which is a massive hit. Now, it's okay if you're in really close quarters, but if you do have to go for something that's a little bit more mid-range, even then you're going to have to start leading your target a little bit, and that can put you at a massive disadvantage. And you know what, it's just occurred to me that I didn't speak about the flash hider. That's probably the one I'd choose for most of the weapons in the game. I feel that the barrel attachments change the stats so much that it throws it one way or the other and you're hindered in one situation but it helps you massively in another. The flash hider does essentially nothing to the weapon apart from remove the muzzle flash. And I think that's a really good thing, so maybe it would be a toss-up between the compensator and the flash hider for the F2000. But overall, I'm really happy to see the F2000 back in Battlefield 4. It's good they brought it back in with Second Assault, and especially it works really well with Metro, and I can see that translating across to Operation Locker as well. We know that the Dragon's Teeth DLC is going to be sort of urban combat, and maybe that's suggesting a little bit more close quarters as well, so I expect it to play a big role there too. But what do you guys think about the F2000? That's one of the main reasons I make these weapon reviews, so I can find out other people's opinions on these weapons. Do you think it's worthwhile trying to unlock all the attachments so you really can see the full benefit? Do you even like the F2000? Did you like it in Battlefield 3? Did you want to see it back in Battlefield 4? Make sure you leave all your comments down below. But that's it for the video today, guys, so thank you for watching. If you did enjoy this one, please do hit the like button, and as I've said already, comments are always appreciated. But until next time, my name is Westy, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.